7 p.m. I know, right? You guys are not happy. Mabinu Pele. Sorry. Football is one unifying game, I know, that cuts across ethnicity, cuts across political divide or religious sentiments. It's one unifying force. It's when football is on that everybody is able to shout, I am Nigerian, and they own it, and everyone jubilates. At that point in time, differences don't count. It is one unifying factor, and I think Nigeria actually needed the win today. I could hear Kizike's voice. He sounded so sad. He sounded so down. He said, you see, that's why I don't like watching football, because I can really get emotionally invested when I really get, locked onto the game. So what I usually do is to ask, who won? And if you tell me Nigerian won, I'll be happy. But if you tell me they lost, well, I wouldn't lose sleep over it, because I don't want anything that would distort my sanity. Hustling every day is a big deal. So when you get invested in something like this and it doesn't turn out how you want, I really understand how a lot of you feel. So Nigeria, trust me, we will win. We'll continue to have our wins. Unfortunately, the journey will not continue from here with us. And I want to say well done, Kizike, for having to give us a rundown, specifically for some areas where there is no electricity to participate in the game. You were able to follow up, with us right here to understand precisely what took place. Well, it's time for us to head on to the evening rush, where we get to look at hot topics, topical issues trending across Nigeria's socio-economic and political landscape. My name is Esther Nwachukwu. You can virtually be part of the conversation by going on YouTube. Click on your search bar at Voice of the People 90.3 FM. You will see us streaming live. You can click on the live button there and you see us streaming live. You watch us virtually in the studio, and the number is actually going to be scrolling on the screen. So what are the hot topics that we'll be looking into today that I feel is quite important for us to talk about? I'm sure you heard us during Matters and during the news at 6, where Nwebonyi disclosed that Peter Obi does not understand the meaning of democracy. Rather, he instigates hate speech. I was shocked by that statement, because the opposition has decided to be quite vocal on issues that goes on in Nigeria's polity. But apparently, when you do speak, the present administration criticizes you for speaking. Well, for Nwebonyi, he says that Obi only instigates hate speech and he does not know the meaning of democracy. According to him, he called Peter Obi a failed politician who is trying to redefine democracy. He says, Peter Obi said democracy has collapsed. Does he even know the meaning of democracy? When people were fighting for democracy, Gregory was buying and selling. He doesn't have a history of any democratic activism from his school days to date. His expertise lies in instigating hate speech and vitriol. Talk is cheap. This statement was made by the special advisor to President Tinubu on policy communication. You would also recall that Nwebonyi earlier had spoken and literally made a veiled threat to Peter Obi to stop making comments that castigates this administration in bad light, literally calling him, someone who likes to play to the gallery and somebody who likes to heat up the polity, and he's not being sincere with his words. And this is the second time Bayo Onanuga is coming out to call out Peter Obi on his remarks that is supposedly anti-government or anti this administration. It's quite interesting, right? Well, that's one of the issues we'll be looking into today on the evening rush. Also, Showore has responded to Bayo Onanuga. Showore says, democracy has actually failed, but you attack Peter Obi, and according to him, he called Peter Obi a wimp. Now, according to what Showore is saying to Onanuga via his X account, he says, at Onanuga 1956 about at Peter Obi's comments yesterday, it's completely and insanely ludicrous, and the fact that he made such a statement is a testament to the total collapse of democracy under the Tinubu at official Bat regime. I must state also that they keep saying and doing such things to Peter Obi because they know he is a wimp. Now, I remember saying on Matters today that it doesn't even make sense, because what happened immediately the state of emergency was declared was that, first of all, Atiku Abubakar went on Twitter and he reacted to it. He called this administration malicious and wicked, literally saying this administration has collapsed democracy. He was not the only person who spoke. Other elite-minded individuals reacted that evening. The following day, Peter Obi now commented, and in a very recent press conference, Peter Obi was able to disclose how the court this court now that nobody no longer trusts, the Nigerians no longer trust our judicial system, was a system that brought him to power twice when he was supposedly impeached while he was a governor of Anambra State, right? And he even disclosed that even the party of the day then under former President Obasanjo as well as Umaru Yar'Adua, that they were actively involved in ensuring that he was safe, meaning that an opposition that was not wicked, an opposition that was not stifling, an opposition that was not about chaining people up or wanting to completely seal people up. It was an opposition that was healthy, that the administration of the day was concerned about his safety and his well-being. He now made statements to the fact that when he was returning, because he traveled, and they asked him, Peter Obi, where are you? He said he's not in the country. They said you can come back, that the court has been able to resolve the matter, so you can come back. He said, is it safe for me to come? And he said the military were the ones that accompanied him to the state government house. They wanted to ensure he was safe. So he was trying to compare how it was then and what is already at play now. And, Bayo Onanuga is coming out to make the statement he made. Then Obwala is saying that he likes to heat up the polity and literally tries to instigate issues. And Showore is calling Peter Obi a wimp, because if you're on social media every blessed day, this administration, that is the APC supporters, as usual, it's what opposition do. There's no name they haven't called him. There's no title he's not been referred. There's no derogatory and denigrating name that they've not actually conferred on him. And Showore was wondering, I made statements. Indeed, democracy has failed in this country. Indeed, this regime is stifling. You do not call me. You do not own up to me. You didn't speak to me. But because Peter Obi spoke, you now eventually decided to come out and talk, because you can talk to him anyhow and nothing will happen. So that's where Showore is coming from, the fact that Peter Obi is a wimp and they know they can get away with it. And that's why they continue to abuse him and make such comments. Now, you recall that Senator Natasha Akpoti's case is still on. Justice Egwatu recused himself from the Natasha Akpoti case. Now, a committee was set up right today. Now, while that committee was set up, something actually funny happened. Senator Nwebonyi, right, the Ebonyi State senator being represented at the National Assembly, who is also a staunch supporter of Godswill Akpabio. If you recall, he was the one who spoke to some journalists indicating that Natasha was suspended based on her not obeying the Senate rules and not on the sexual allegation that she came up to say. He also went ahead to disclose to us that Senator Natasha has several husbands and has children for several husbands. Well, in the conversation that we're having today at the Ethics Committee with the former Minister of Education, Obi Ezekwesili, there where they were making their investigation, it was quite surprising to hear the insults that were reeling out from Senator Nwebonyi's mouth. Now, Senator Nwebonyi, obviously a senator from Ebonyi State, was speaking to a former Minister of Education, Obi Ezekwesili. There was a clash in that while they were having the conversation, right? It occurred at the Ethics Committee hearing on sexual harassment allegations between Senate President Godswill Akpabio and suspended Senator Natasha. During the altercation, Senator Nwebonyi told Dr. Ezekwesili that she's an insult to womanhood. And if you watched that video, Obi Ezekwesili was calm all through. Now, that man displayed an attitude which a couple of Nigerians feel has validated what Natasha Akpoti was talking about in the Senate. I don't know if we can hear it very clearly, but I want us to listen to Senator Nwebonyi and the manner with which he was addressing Obi Ezekwesili. Literally, there was nobody there. He may have even put his finger into her eye. In fact, somebody was trying to calm him down and hold him back. He swung his hand off to the person and said, "Excuse me." It almost felt like he wanted to fight off the woman. But let's take a listen to that argument there. So, if you could see people trying to calm that man down, there were about 3 or 4 women there while that situation was ongoing. There were some women too behind, and he was vituperating. It was, it was not good at all. No sense of maturity. So, if this is the attitude you're putting out here, what would you call it? Would you suspend him as a senator for abusing another woman in the committee where the investigations were ongoing? This whole thing has gone viral, and we will not be surprised to hear the senator tomorrow come out to defend why he reacted the way he reacted. But a lot of Nigerians would say that this kind of drama is obviously expected in Nigeria. There is no difference. Well, that is one of the issues we're looking at today on the hot topic. Meanwhile, there is a call that due to the Osun crisis, a state of emergency should be declared now. There are calls that a state of emergency should be declared in Osun State as people are watching the events that took place in the last few months in Osun State, where there are considerable situations between the fact that there was a breakdown of law and order in some of the local governments there, and according to them, they are saying that the governor of the state has refused to obey the pronouncement of the Court of Appeal and sought to glorify the State High Court above the Court of Appeal in a case already decided and unappealed at the highest court of the land. Now, there are some that would consider what's going on in Osun State a result of some political indecisions, which has escalated to the point where communal clashes are occurring. Others are saying that this could also pose questions as to the competency of the governor to retain peace and order, whereby the state does not degenerate to a point of anarchy. And they're calling on the president that is it not something like this that it calls spades to you calling for a state of emergency, but that state is a PDP state, right? So the question now is, are they going to be imposing state of emergency on states not governed by the current administration? Is this a way of trying to dampen or tackle or take advantage of the states being governed by the opposition? Well, different looks are going on into this. Meanwhile, ISWAP has overrun a military base in Borno, killed several soldiers, injured others. At least 3 Nigerian soldiers have been killed after Boko Haram and Islamic State of West Africa province terrorists launched an assault on a forward operating base in the Wajiroko area of Borno State. The attack happened on Monday around 10 p.m. It resulted in casualties amongst Nigerian troops, including the brigade commander and 2 other soldiers who sustained injuries. According to a military signal obtained, full details of the attack remain unclear, but intelligence from a surveillance drone indicated visible fire around the base, and several troops were seen retreating towards Sabungari, suggesting that the base may have been overrun by insurgents. So that's one of the issues I'll be looking into today. So it's time for me to introduce my analysts in the studio. Like I said, I really want us to have a proper comprehension of what is taking place in Nigeria's polity and have an objective, logical perspective to these issues. I have right here in the studio CP Chuks Ewonwu, a former commissioner of police for Oyo State. And I also have here as well Mr. Lawal Ekundayo, who is a political, national and social affairs commentator. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening to you and to the listeners.
CP Chuks, I miss you.
Thank you.
Like, I miss you physically here in the studio, and I'm so wild and I'm happy that you're here with me because I really need your analysis and your expertise on the issues that we're going to discuss this evening on the Evening Rush. Once again, you're currently listening to the Evening Rush, and these are the hot topics. My name is Esther Mwachku. My in-house guest here is CP Chuks Ewonwu and Mr. Lawal Ekundayo. They'll be giving us their perspective to the issues on the hot topic. CP Chuks, I'm going to start off with you this evening. Are you surprised to hear the response from Bayo Nanuga and Daniel Bwala on the remarks made by Peter Obi? I want you to recall that when that state of emergency was declared, it's a very recent state of emergency. I even have the audio where Peter Obi made some remarks concerning what transpired and how he described his own scenario when he was, the governor of Anambra State, and how he went through his impeachment process. Now, on that very day when the situation occurred, CP Chuks, let me tell you something. On that very day it occurred, as the president just finished giving his live broadcast, Atiku tweeted immediately. He reacted. Showore has been on 3 media forums, popular media forums, berating this administration, call them all sorts of derogatory names, call the president certain names. You know how bold and audacious he is. I did not hear the presidency or anyone from the presidential cabinet come out to chastise him, to castigate his comment. Obasanjo has also made a remark as well against the state of emergency declared in Rivers State. The presidency has come out to actually disclose that Obasanjo was one of the persons that introduced bribery into our democracy. That's basically what Bayo Nanuga referred to in response to Obasanjo's criticism to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's state of emergency declaration. And it's funny because as it stands right about now, you begin to wonder, when did we get to this level? And it only took them speaking about Peter Obi's remarks. Maybe we should hear what Peter Obi said first. Maybe that will help us understand what this whole thing means or how Peter Obi went far. And then also speak on what Showore said and how brazen Showore made his comments. So let's just briefly listen to Peter Obi, and then you help me explain why they pick on him. Because Showore has called Peter Obi a wimp, that it's easy for them to pick on him because they know he wouldn't react. I don't know what he means by that, but let's listen to this.
What Bishop Kuka said, he said the work in progress. Let me follow my brother when he said about 1999. If you look at where we are today, it's like they started in 1999, laid the foundation. Some people came and took it a decking, and some people were trying to raise it to first floor, and some people came and knocked everything down. That's the situation. We have been knocked down. Nothing works. And I'm somebody who can say this exemplarily. I became a governor to the court when President Obasanjo and Atiku were in government. I did not pay the court one naira. I was sitting in my house in the office, and the court declared me winner. When a governor is so serious, it can't happen in Nigeria today. When I was being impeached, the president sent people to come and intervene on my behalf. Ken Namani came begging house people not to impeach me. Today, the president impeaches the person. So that is the thing says for us. They were begging my house not to impeach me. And they were in PDP. I was in Africa. And they were begging. President was calling me and said, Peter, are you okay? Even when I was impeached, President Obasanjo called me and said, are you okay? Are you safe? When I go back from the court, when court eventually declared me under Ndimba, President Yaradua called my phone in London and said, congrats. I said, President, I can't come back because, if I come back, these people, he said, tell me the flight in which you're coming back. And I told him, when I came in the first time, military people came to receive me at the airport. I couldn't believe it. I took me straight to him. Now the president will ask me not to come back here again. So insane. Let's not talk about it. Let's talk about how you're going to rebuild it. It's collapsing.
I'm glad that my last respondent said yes and no. So,
well, I will say to China is not democratic.
it isn't.
And I'm not going to compare ourselves with Singapore. It's a country of less than 5 million people. But I'll compare ourselves with Indonesia. Indonesia is 280 million. And coincidentally, the country with the highest number of Muslims. We should look at their democracy. They have what we call proportional representative. That is what I've always championed and we should do. You cannot have, let me even go back, no country in the past 3 years conducted election had less than 30% of registered voters participate in the election, and they held it. Everyone was go and check from South Africa to Mexico to Indonesia. They were not less than 60%. Nigeria was 23% of registered voters. In that 23%, Nigeria is the only country where you can be declared a winner without receiving 50% plus one of the vote. Our own was 37%. And there's no proportional representation, which is why you can't have opposition here. Because if you had that, what is said wouldn't have happened. Because The person there now has 37% of the vote. Call it 40. In the Senate, would have had 44 members. PDP, with their leader, would have had about 34 members.
All right, CP Chuksawa, when you've heard Peter Obi speak there, tell me how he's spreading vitriol, how he is heating up the polity, how he is casting aspersions on this administration. I want to understand where Daniel Bwala and Bayo Onanuga is coming from.
Well, I am not surprised.
Why are you not surprised?
It has been part and parcel of the style of Bayo Onanuga, of which Bwala have followed suit. The hatred from Bayo Onanuga on the Igbos, not just P2B, is alarming, it's very worrisome, and it is such that if I were the president,
The mic.
I will fire Bayo Onanuga or replace him to a less visible office where he cannot be inciting against a tribe or a group of Nigerians for whatever they believe in. His level of stereotype is extremely high. And I want to give you an instance. Immediately after the elections of 2023, let me start from there. He said one thing, if I could remember, that by the time the system deals with the Igbos, Lagos will not be a comfortable place for them to remain further. Something like that.
Can you imagine? This is not working for the president.
You can imagine. People were like, what sort of thing is this? That Igbos are now coming to claim that Lagos is no man's land. When the Igbos said that, he was not able to produce such evidence because there was no such thing.
No, these are statements that go on social media.
Now, you spokesman to Mr. President is
Inciting.
raising and inciting those
Comments.
comments. So what exactly do you want to achieve by that? That one went. Into 2024, there was like that who will make irresponsible statements, will do like that, who will make irresponsible statements, will do that, and just walk away. It's insane claims and setting. Such a thing should not just go like that.
At all.
It is something that needs to have not only a national attention, an international dimension. Because from what the Igbos suffered between 1966, July, pogroms, the civil war, loss of lives, damage to property, and so on and so forth, is something. It was a total genocide. It was not a civil war. It was a calculated attempt to completely exterminate the Igbos from the surface of the earth. I stand to be contradicted.
But why? Where is this endemic hate? The hate is so, you can feel it. It's crispy and it's consistent. I don't know why. What should elicit that kind of hate? We're one nation. Why would that kind of hate be prevalent years from that time? And it has become rife now that it's like there is a resurgence of it. Because I'm shocked. You have terrorists attacking every aspect of the country. Exactly. You're not considering that as a priority for your administration to react to and speak to. You didn't consider a situation where you will call for an internal meeting with your security agencies and compel them to rout out Boko Haram wherever it is you can find them. ISWAP, you just heard what ISWAP did in a particular northern community. They killed several soldiers in a military base in Borno. How? After Boko Haram and ISWAP terrorists launched an assault on a forward operating base in Wajiroko area of Borno State. Who gave them intel? Just 3 or 4 days ago, in Yobe State, ISWAP murdered 3 Nigerian soldiers as well. They did a video of it and posted it. You're not considering that something that you can react to? No, CP, I want to understand. How can you be in an administration that does not promote healthy opposition? Is it a crime if the opposition speaks? Because it got so bad that Peter Obi or the opposition literally went silent. When I mean opposition, Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, Kwankwaso, they all decided to let the courts take its proceedings. They don't want a situation where you rile up and supporters, and at the end of the day, anyways, when you have the state almost against you with all the powers conscripted on a particular state or region, you can't do anything about it. Others have called the opposition wimps. They've called them spineless. They refuse to be. They were not part of the protest. If you notice, the End Bad Governance protest and the Fearless protest, we didn't see any of the opposition. It was only Sowore that we saw being active. And a couple of people think that Sowore deliberately tries to insert himself in controversial situations like this. Whether you see it or not, he has exuberated and, displays a sense of commitment to, wanting to free Nigerians from the clutches of what he considered to be a dictatorial system of government. So why is that the prominent issue here? Why should that kind of situation be coming from an administration that is meant to be calling for national unity and cohesion? Why? CP, I'm asking you.
Oh, I thought you're okay.
No, you were talking before I decided to come in there.
You see, the thing is very worrisome. It's really disturbing because with the crisis at hand, we are talking of insurgency, we are talking of terrorism, we are talking of kidnapping, armed banditry, hardship in the economy, hunger, cultism, and so on and so forth. These are the enemies of states that we should concentrate and come out with a straight line policy on how to dismantle each and every one of them. Those special advisors in quotes will not see such, dangerous dimensions or phenomenon that is raising its ugly and monstrous heads. It is how to hit heads of one tribe against the other. In what way is it going to pay us off? Or in what way is it going to, grow the economy or, foster a solution to the imbroglio we find ourselves? That is why, you see, sometimes you pick the wrong people and put them in very sensitive positions.
Okay.
Clear case of putting a square peg on a round hole. So I am in that school of thought that should look in the direction of being very thorough in people we put in position of responsibility.
Okay.
If any of them comes out to play this role, this shameless set of human beings are presently playing, they should be eased out without sentiments or without any bias whatsoever. In as much as it's an avenue to give them food, to put food in their table. Replace them, remove them to places that are less sensitive, where they cannot be seen nor heard. Let them just be doing office work and be writing memos and be suggesting things, become part of even the think tank. Not where they will be coming to open their mouth and be talking recklessly and irresponsibly and be inciting a set of Nigerians or a group or a tribe against the other tribe. It's not healthy. It will not bring harmony or unity or integration or internal cohesion amongst the tribes in Nigeria. The situation is such that this is the time we need to be realistic, we need to be nationalistic, we need to be altruistic, and think about the generations to come. Because what legacy are we leaving for the generations to come? These are things that should be primary and that should be key to each and every actor in the political space. You see, the direction I'm coming is that the state of the economy is in debilitating condition. We should think of first security so that institutional and foreign investors can think of coming here to do their investments and be rest assured that there won't be stories on the investment. If you conquer security, we will look at the direction of production in areas of revitalizing the industries and then getting the agriculture back on track. Because if you're able to have bountiful production and harvest, you have enough to feed your nation.
Exactly.
Then you may be lucky to have excess to export and earn foreign exchange. Because when you're not producing, you are a net consumer. That's where you have problem. And you cannot continue to depend only on monocultural economy, thinking of 99% oil production. What if the oil dries off tomorrow? That's one. And two, what if by paraventure things happen and the cost of crude falls from maybe around $80 per barrel that is hovering now and comes down to something like $20.
Okay.
The way Buhari met it in 2015. I mean, how do you wriggle yourself out of such tight situation? So these are the areas we will think of on how to move the economy forward. Now, coming further, the president had been bold enough to remove the fuel subsidy at the inception of his regime. And that removal of fuel subsidy is in line with the Petroleum Industry Act, PIA, that deregulates the downstream oil sector. Now, what do? We are expected to encourage indigenous investors in downstream oil sector, like Aliko Dangote and his Dangote refinery. Encourage them by making sure that things like the crude oil that they source as their raw materials for production of refined products should be coming from domestic sources, so that at least whatever he makes in terms of foreign exchange will naturally go into the foreign reserve for the nation and bolster whatever we have there. But if you are playing politics, very funny politics, and making him to go and import crude, maybe from America or from Mexico or wherever, he will be spending that much needed foreign exchange to go and bring in the raw materials. And by the time he finishes refining and put it in the market, these prices we are enjoying now that is declining will start going up. So the politics of oil is such that we even expect, I don't expect even the majors who are importing to in any way, have issues with what Dangote is doing. If they feel they cannot compete with the markets, like the saying goes, if you can't beat them, you join them. You key in into what Dangote is doing. And good enough, more modular refineries are coming up. If you look at Akwa Ibom, Bua is almost rounding up his modular refinery there. And I learned recently, there's one also coming up in Imo State. So if we have enough, it's a plus for the nation. Because when you produce enough, you have surplus to export. As we speak, Dangote exports and is earning foreign exchange for the country. I think he exports to UAE, to Saudi, to UAE and some other Middle East countries, especially Jet A oil, the one that the aircraft are using. It's a plus. So it's not something people should have reason to begin to fight themselves and come in with this pull him down syndrome. It is not healthy. It's not the best for all of us.
Mr. Lawal Kundar, please come close to the microphone. Thank you so much for your patience. Mr. Lawal, when that particular state of emergency was declared in Rivers State, article said that that state of emergency reeks of political manipulation and outright bad faith. That was what he said that night. Now, he blamed the president for the crisis in Rivers. He accused him of being a partisan actor in the political turmoil engulfing Rivers. And that was what he did. He went to his X page platform immediately to type shortly after the president's broadcast. He said he feels greatly disturbed by the political crisis in Rivers, that the state has been at a standstill and the people have been deprived of good governance. 14 months after Fubara demolished the House of Assembly, it remains unbuilt. Many Nigerians have intervened just as he did, but their efforts have been to no avail. No responsible president will stand by without taking action to restore good normalcy and governance and peace. Now, in that particular this was the president's reaction to what Atiku Abubakar said about reeking of political manipulation. Now, in reaction as well to that, Omoyele Sowore went and called this administration all sorts of derogatory names. In fact, he called it, this is worse than a dictatorship. He called it godfatherism at play. His response is actually there. He has been on several media forums. He even went to the extent of saying that the Senate president ought to be in prison. He asserted that Godswill Akpabio should be in prison and not the Red Chamber. This was when he was weighing in on the sexual allegation leveled against Akpabio by the suspended senator. So the reason why I'm going back is these individuals were quick in reacting to that declaration. And Peter Obi now spoke, and you're picking him out. So Sowore is saying that Peter Obi is a wimp. That's why it's easy for them to pick on him, because every other person had spoken. And then he speaks, and you decided to come out and pick on him. Why is that so?
Thank you. I believe the reason is because they see him as a formidable opposition.
They don't see Atiku as a formidable opposition.
No,
they don't see Sowore as a formidable opposition.
See, the level at which Obi is, popular, is something that is, worrisome to the ruling party. That is why they look at him, even if he stand up, they are going to criticize it in order to find a means to try to, damage his image. That is what exactly is going on. That's what exactly is going on. So they see him as a man to beat. And they have the attention on him. You get it? And they find every little thing to try to bring him down, because they see him as everything he says, generate, popularity for him. So that is the way they see it. So they tried everything, even if he didn't speak, they will still speak about him.
But why would they see him as a formidable source? The APC won the 2023 elections, and now as it stands, they seem to have an upper hand with the legislature, INEC as an institution, and the National Assembly, as well as the judiciary. So what is the fear?
In 2023, people believed the battle, the last election, and they saw it overshadow them. They had to, do some, just opposing, to get to power. Let me use the word just opposing. To get to power. So when you just oppose to get to power, you know that you took a giant, you took more than the necessary steps that you are supposed to take. You'll be looking back because you know that step may not always be available. So you always look at somebody who's that fast. You get, it's like you are playing football, and then while you are playing football, you see that the referee assisted you to win. You understand? When the referee assisted you to win, you will always be afraid of the true team, because you know that you may not always have the opportunity of the referee every time. That is the way they see him. That's why each time he speaks, they want to come out and try to, damage his reputation, whatever, say this and that. Everybody have been saying this now. We've been saying this all over since now. Other people have been saying, who are not even a big elephant in the political scene. Kwankwaso have been speaking. So many will. Even this what's the name of this young NYC student that came up and spoke? I want to. So people have been speaking. He's not the first person to speak. He's not the middle person to speak. He's not the last person to speak. But they see him as that, that politician, that leader, that man to beat. So, and that fear, you get it, is always there. And that caution is always on them. You get, and that's why you see this man coming out to just speak sometimes. And then you wonder what are you talking? You get it? It's obvious.
All right.
So I see the fear. You see, I see the fear. And I keep saying it. I keep telling Nigerians that, see, don't underestimate Nigerians. Don't underestimate Nigerians. This thing will always come up. You remember, Babangida said, I'll step aside. He never expected it. You remember? When MKO Abiola, contested, nobody thought the whole country would just galvanize together and vote without any divide. When Abacha was in power, they thought it was going to be like that forever. Is that not it? And there were protests then. So, and the same election came up 2023. People never expected. And I keep saying that Nigerians are getting wiser.
Okay.
Don't always think this is in Nigeria for 1 year or this. Nigerians are getting wiser. Okay, let me move to a bigger level. Look at Fubara. Look at Natasha. They are playing outside the box, and it's seriously affecting the ruling party. And it was obvious what they did to Fubara, and everybody is speaking all over the world. They saw the unfairness. Look at Natasha, that female that is just inexperienced in the house and shaking the whole house. Some have been there for how many years? 12 years. And she's shaking the whole house. And the whole house, is kind of, why I said they are shaking? They are afraid because they keep doing things outside the normal, outside their law. The same law you are accused her of, you yourself, you are openly disobeying that same law. And you are punishing somebody for it to let you know that she's seriously shaking them. The Senate president had to appeal to every member of the senator for assistance in order to be able to fight this inexperienced young politician that's been there for the first time. You get it? This female that they can always shut down every time. You get it? Female really speak in the Senate, and she's shaking the whole thing. So what I'm saying that this is a new Nigeria. Some people are getting bolder. Some people are getting
brazen.
Yes, faces the status quo, and it's continuing to happen. That's why I said that 2027. Don't decide the winner now.
All right. CP Chooks, let me come back to you. Senator Nwebonyi is a senator from Ebonyi State, and he was in a verbal clash with Obi Ezekwesili. There was a committee meeting today on the situation with Natasha, the sexual allegation petition and complaint from Senator Natasha Akpoti. Now, during the altercation, I played the audio here. Senator Nwebonyi told Dr. Ezekwesili that she's an insult to womanhood. I don't know if you saw that video. He was vituperating. They were trying to calm him down. He was swinging his hand. He didn't care whether it was a female behind or it was a man. There was somebody in between him and Dr. Obi Ezekwesili. If that person wasn't there, maybe his finger would have entered her eye. The question now is, does this validate all of what Natasha has been saying about the Senate? Because the behavior of that senator contravenes the remarks he has been making that Natasha ought to be disciplined for not obeying rules. And in a public forum like that, you disrespected that woman. They all kept calm. They watched him while he was vituperating. As for now, maybe by tomorrow we'll get to hear precisely what transpired that elicited Senator Nwebonyi's reaction. But regardless, in such a committee, wouldn't you have expected that senator, with how he has berated Natasha, would have comported himself? What does that tell you about the state, about the scenario of the National Assembly, specifically towards the female gender, for Senator Nwebonyi to actually display the way he displayed towards Obi Ezekwesili?
First and foremost, The question is, who is Senator Nwebonyi, or whatever he calls himself?
He's an APC senator representing Ebonyi State.
I know. What is his background? Check him out. Go and profile him. You see that first and foremost, he suffers from inferiority complex. Secondly, he is exposing his inadequacies.
Okay.
If you profile him further, you will find out that he has absolutely nothing to offer. What is his background like? So such people shouldn't in any way be made reference points. If you go further, you come to find out that he has no other address. He's only either touting or toggery, and ended up bootlicking, and one way or the other found himself in the National Assembly. And the same applies to most of them in that National Assembly. It's only a few that have that decency and decorum. But that's not a criteria for them to make the red chambers. So I am not surprised by that dishonorable misconduct by that senator from Ebonyi State. Having said that, Ezekwesili is a lady who had made her mark. She was a minister under Chief Olusegun Obasanjo. And apart from being a minister, she's of the old school. She was just a year our junior in the University of Nigeria and Soka. She left the university in 85.
She was a year your junior or ahead of you?
A year my junior.
Okay.
She was a year my junior.
Wow.
She left 85. Myself, Soluda, and P2B left 84.
Wow,
We were in the
amazing.
same faculty of social sciences. We entered 80, left 1984. So you now see that our generation are much more matured, to an extent responsible and decent,
Cultured.
Yeah. When matters like this
Come up.
And that is why you have seen the restraint in person of P2B. He will never join issues. That's why they call him a wimp or whatever name. That is why a useless man like Reno Mokri, who has been looking for a job from the federal government.
You can't call him useless here. We try not to use derogatory terms on anybody.
Okay, that's all right. That's why somebody like that, everything he picks on Obi is none of my business, because that is politics. But where I get angry at him is when he drags a tribe that have suffered immensely, both in politics, in business, and so on and so forth. Every small thing he will say, Ibo did this, Ibo did that. That's why I've been waiting for the day I will see him face to face. And I've been wishing for an opportunity like this, where two of us will sit in the studio. Then I'll now tell him his genesis. I'll dress him down and bring him to his level. Because you can't, because you're looking for a job from the federal government, you keep inciting, intertribal conflicts. You don't do things like that. And these are people, you know what they went through between 1966 to 1970. And they're still trying to pick up.
It's terrible.
From bits and pieces. Okay, they come for elections. You say, no, they went for civil war. They will not get it. They say, okay, no problem. Leave us with the area we are very used to. That buying and selling, trading, business and all. You still say they will not do that. So what do you want them to do? Every small thing, you say, Igbos are trying to do this. Where did you see them have meeting and take decisions that they are going to be anti-federal government or anti-subnational levels? You have not seen a thing like that. You just sit down because you want to be hard, because you want them to give you a position. You now start coming up with fake news. And it's very, very unfortunate. I'm sure the day the government will be courageous enough to set up a Truth Reconciliation Commission like they did in South Africa.
Okay.
During Mandela's time with Desmond Tutu. A lot will come out. People like me, I'm waiting. I'll be preparing my memo for such a time. Because by the time we finish telling ourselves the truth, a lot of people will be buried politically. and they will end up not smelling any public office for the rest of their lives. And they must have shown that they are not only a disgrace to themselves, but to their families and generations to come from their areas.
Okay.
These are things of very, very serious concern that we should not be treating with levity.
At all.
That's my position.
All right. The obedient movement, however, has reacted. You know, they're a political group. They supported the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the last general elections, and they've warned presidential spokesperson Mr. Bayo Onanuga against threatening their principal. This was through a press statement by Director of Strategic Communications and Media, Obedient Movement, Nana Kazauri. She cautioned Onanuga against Muslim free speech. That's what she went ahead to say, and that they submit that if the president's administration had invested a quarter of the energy and resources it expends in hounding and demonizing varying opinions through its intemperate spokespersons and numerous cyber Rottweilers, Nigeria would be a far more decent and conducive place to live in. Unfortunately, we are stuck with a government high on talk but miserably low on action or any iota of progress. The group said a threat to Peter Obi should not be discountenanced, as Onanuga has previously been noted for inviting people against Peter Obi. And if you go on social media, obviously this will pick up, and the supporters of this administration will use tribe and whatever to mudsling and or whatnot. But CP Chooks, the next, because I know this is your purview, this is your domain. What's going on with the consistent insecurity? Persons can no longer go to their farms. You see Fulani terrorists there attacking them, preventing them from going to their farms. And then you now hear as well the Nigerian army members on the field are not safe. Just today, 3 Nigerian soldiers were killed after launched an assault on them. So you would have expected that while the president was very quick in calling the national security advisor, the chief of naval staff, the chief of air staff, and the Senate president at the time, when they had that security meeting before the state of emergency announcement, that you would have thought the same thing would have happened now for the state of insecurity in the country. Farmers can no longer go to their farms. Some persons can no longer do what they're supposed to do, considering that for some communities, their farmlands is their economic power that they can feed and make money from. How do you describe this? Is our military, have they been, do they have an intelligence porosity? Are there deliberate moves within this institution that weakens the strategy to eliminate terrorists? How do you describe this?
Well, thank you for that question. The situation as it is and as we speak is of very serious concern. And a lot of communities have either abandoned their communities, especially places like Benue State.
Yes.
Some places in Borno and so on and so forth.
Jos,
Plateau and so on.
Niger State.
Niger State.
Zamfara.
Those places has been overrun by insurgents. And if you check properly, you'll find out that most of those insurgents are not only Nigerians, they are mixed up with people from the sub-Saharan Africa, maybe from Chad, from Niger, from as far as Sudan, Somalia, and so on. This ISWAP and so on and so forth. So it's something that the government needs to take very seriously. And how do we take it seriously? I am one of those who have always been advocating that we need to spend much more time, energy, and resources in cultivating intelligence. You don't take intelligence for granted.
Okay.
It's not only intelligence tied to the agencies, military or security agencies. We are talking also of the local intelligence, because those natives and communities are the ones that see movements of strange-looking fellows infiltrating the entire landscape. You don't need to keep quiet. You need to sensitize and educate the people that it is dangerous for you to see somebody that you don't even know where he or she is coming from,
Okay.
and carrying lethal weapon and crossing your terrain or your space, what do you have to do? Find a way of passing information. Sensitize and
Who should sensitize and educate?
well, that's what I mean. The government, of course.
The government sensitize and educate. These people don't even wait for sensitization and education.
No,
They
no, no.
plunder, they decimate.
No, what I'm saying, the people, the communities.
Okay.
So that when they see such things, they'll have appropriate channel
Appropriate channel?
of passing it to the concerned agencies
Really?
to take necessary action.
CP, have you seen how these invaders, how they carry out their operations?
No, what I'm
That by
saying,
the time
you
the
need
channel, by the time the information is channeled to the appropriate authorities, persons would have died.
no, what I'm saying is that they don't just come and attack. It takes a while. Many of them don't go by road. They go by the forest, the valleys,
Yes,
and the hills.
yes.
So from that point, they are taking off. People need to know that that this is danger looming.
Okay.
If you pass information to the appropriate agencies, they can now use drone to track whatever movement these people are making. And if it is possible, you can start with using the air power, bringing the air force to locate them and degrade them totally. And once you degrade them, that's the end of the story. But if you keep quiet and allow them to keep moving and percolating at a particular place, they become formidable and more dangerous to what you have just expressed now. So we need to be very proactive, not to give space for them to get themselves in large number and go ahead and invade communities in such a way that they will come and wipe out the community and continue on their uninterrupted march to other areas. So the earlier we realize that and try as much as we can to nip this sinister in the bud, the better for all of us.
I want to ask a question,
Okay.
or maybe a submission.
Yes.
This Nick Comsat, you know,
All right.
we have launched two into
Yes.
the air. You see, America, all this develop, even India, they have their satellite monitor their land for them from space.
Yes.
It monitors. It can even see you from space. It can see you up, down from
Okay.
space.
Yeah, exactly.
Then what happened to our own satellite that will launch into space to monitor our area? Up to now, nobody is saying anything because this thing is a very, very powerful weapon. I mean, device when it comes to
Tracking.
yes, tracking, maintaining security of your area, your land, the country.
The question is, are they interested in that? Everybody is interested in his pocket, what he's going to make out of the National Assembly or in whatever position of authority that is holding politically. That's their interest. Nobody is concerned. Once he has soldiers or mopol around him, he feels he has arrived, that is enough for him. Maybe gets himself a bulletproof SUV. They are not interested in what happens in the countryside. And that is why things keep degenerating every other day. And furthermore, to the question you have put across, if we are lucky to identify a camp where they have settled, you don't wait for them to prepare to do their heinous activities. You need to carry the fight
To them.
So
Okay.
if you locate it and do proper coordination between the air and land, the Air Force will go there and clear off everything.
Okay, or do you think this is because the Nigerian Air Force actually launched an airstrike on the enclave in Borno State? They eliminated scores of the insurgents. They also destroyed 3 gun trucks. The operation was carried out under the air component of Operation Hadinkai, which targeted a hideout north of Chiralia in the notorious Timbuktu Triangle. Now, it wasn't long after this happened that, ISWAP and Boko Haram also went to their forward base. Military authorities say the precision strikes have significantly disrupted terrorist activities in the region, reinforcing the ongoing counterinsurgency efforts in the northeast. And according to a statement by Kabiru Ali, who is the Deputy Director of Public Relations and Information, the operation took place over the weekend and it was initiated after ground troops provided actionable intelligence on the movement of 3 terrorist gun trucks from Sabongari towards Chiralia. So do you think this is a counterattack from ISWAP, where they killed 3 Nigerian soldiers, and after this Air Force were able to deploy fighter jets for an air interdiction mission?
I think so. I think along that line, it is a way to weaken whatever efforts the military authorities is putting in place to get them off the territory of Nigeria, because it is the responsibility of the military to ensure that we fight against external aggression and internal subversion. And that is what they are trying to live up to, And these activities of these insurgents is like a sabotage to whatever efforts the military is making to restore peace in those affected areas. And it shouldn't even dampen the morale or the spirit of the military or the federal government. At this point in time, I expect them to be consistent in degrading. Once they've finished doing, they should keep on looking for other areas and continue to intensify the attacks, especially from the air, because that's the language they understand. If you do by the ground troops using infantry, sometimes they are endangered because they're exposed to landmines, they're exposed to ambush and all sorts of, attacks by these criminal elements. Because those criminal elements are good in desert wars.
All right.
They are good in jungle wars. It's asymmetric war.
Guerrilla warfare.
Yes, guerrilla warfare.
Yes.
They deal with you, they pull. You don't even know where and when they are coming. But the air, that's the one they cannot contain for now, or except if they have manpower, which I doubt that they do, because once you have that manpower, you can fire
anti-aircraft.
Anti-aircraft. The thing will be following the aircraft until it hits it, unless the aircraft has a device to release flare to dislodge or disorganize the
sense of the missile.
Exactly, the direction of the missile.
Okay.
So they need to do that consistently.
All right.
Keep using the satellite, locate them, and deal with them on a continuous and consistent basis.
Yes. All right.
Then I want to come in on this. I think it is still what we are saying so far. I don't understand. I have something I want, but I'm not going to say it now. Because you can't
You have
tell
something
me,
you want to ask and you will not say it. Why?
No,
Is it
I want to say
NTBB?
it, but I don't want. I want to reserve it for a while. What I want to say is this: that intelligence you mentioned, because the way our military operate, they still operate like we are in 18th century. That's the way I see it. You get? They still operate like you are.
You think they're still very slow in their action or what?
They are still crude. They still operate. They are maybe I don't know. Maybe it's their training.
They are not deploying digital whatever to synergize.
They are not.
They're analog.
Yes, thank you. They are still operating in analog style, because you can't tell me a big base like that, so big. When you have a base, all the soldiers don't just stay in the base. They have a scout all around the base that monitors before anything comes to them. Is it that those scouts are most of those bandits?
Yes.
Are you getting my because you are indeed, you have more experience than me. I don't know, maybe those scouts they sent out around the base to monitor before anything comes in, they are most of the bandits, or maybe they don't have scouts. They just gather themselves in the base and drink. You get, because you can't tell me, because these insurgents, these bandits, they are not coming with 1 or 2 or 3 persons. They don't come by machine. They come with big weapons, because they know they want to decimate you. So for them to come with big weapons and big mobiles, and yes, it's something is easily detected, because in that area it's not a deep forest like we have in this west
Sahel region.
Yes, you can see far away.
Exactly.
And this military, they also have their own, all this apart from drones, they have this sensors that can detect, distance object that is coming. Is it that we don't have all this? We still operate in analog, or we still operate in the 18th century method. You get in which shoot at sight is what we depend on. Because I don't understand. You can see, look at the way Ukraine and Russia are fighting. Look at the way Israel, before the missile from Houthi get to Israel, a device already detecting that missile they shoot is coming to what it will have calculated it and tell you that it's coming. So before it gets there, they're already shooting the counter that will take care of it before it even get to Israel land. The same thing in Ukraine. And here we keep seeing something that's supposed not to happening as if, and big money, big budgets are being invested into security in Nigeria, and they are still operating like they are still using analog. I don't understand. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
There are devices that can see even in the night, can see far distances. We hear about tanks. You have these leopard tanks. You have
Tipi, do you think they're overwhelmed?
I don't
because
understand.
Chief of Defense Staff, during an interview very recently internationally, said that they feel that they are international sponsors, and because these persons are operating with hard currency and the kind of weapons they're using very sophisticated. So if they know this, then what is happening? How come these arms are still being brought into through our borders, either by air or by ship or through land?
I think it's not coming by air and it's not coming by ship. It's by land. That's my own thinking. Reason being that the border is so porous. Check the borders. There are vast areas, especially the northeast, the northwest, and even up to the middle belt, where we have international borders with Chad, with Niger, with Benin Republic, even Cameroon. And that is why and how people will come all the way from Central Africa, from Sudan, and from Somalia, and infiltrate into Nigeria undetected.
Settle down in Nigeria.
Settle down here and begin to plan havoc, how to wreak havoc to the Nigerian citizens and possibly take over. Because sometimes you come to find out that they use religion
a lot
as their weapon, that there is part of jihad, that they are coming
recruit men to recruit
the locals. And like Lawal Ekudai was analyzing, you find out that even this issue of mole, the problem the military will be having in such areas is that they are not part of the place. They are brought from maybe either
so that they don't understand the ground.
Yes, so they are being very cautious not to mix with the outside crowd, so as not to expose themselves to danger. So most times you see them, they confine themselves within their base, training and retraining and getting set for any operation that will come up. And that is the advantage those miscreants will always take and have. They've noticed all those things. They have already infiltrated some of the locals and told them that this is a jihad war, that those people are infidels, that they need to wipe them out of the surface of the earth. So go and get us information how they do their things when they are relaxed or when they are set.
Where they position their weapons,
or when they come out to buy stuff.
So that's what they work on for them to be able to do this thing and be partially successful. That's what I think.
All right, let's take reactions already, ladies and gentlemen. In Edo State, the governor there has declared a state of emergency on education. He talked about the deplorable state, the deplorable infrastructure available there, and he's saying that there should be declared a state of emergency in that sector of the state. A lot of Nigerians are looking ahead and working together. Atiku Abubakar is also one person, as we do know, that's been able to speak with some APC members. The details of Atiku, Senator Abo, and others' coalition meeting in Yola has actually emerged. The former vice president reiterated the need for urgent restructuring in Nigeria, emphasizing that the country's current trajectory poses a threat to the democratic rights of citizens. And so there are some persons in the APC who are not happy, possibly because they were not given an appointment, possibly because they've not been seen or one issue or the other. They are also trying to merge to form a coalition. So a couple of persons are asking Atiku to just stay behind. You mustn't get this thing. You've been trying consecutively for 3, election periods thereabout. You didn't win. So why don't you stay behind and try and see how you can support another person so you guys can work? Others are saying, is the objective of these politicians just to unseat the president? What do they have in mind to do for the Nigerian people beyond just wanting to fight to unseat the president? Because that was what happened in 2015. They just wanted to unseat former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. That when the APC came on board, it took them 6 months to comport themselves, to place themselves, to form committees, to have, form a cabinet, all of those things, know who your ministers are. It took them a long time. It was like they were not expecting to win that election. So is the opposition all about just unseating the president? After that, if at all you want to unseat, or if you're able to do that, what next? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Yeah, the
yes,
question is
I
what
understand.
next?
See, that is why some people are looking at people like Obi, looking like Shore, on those stuff, looking at them here and there because they've seen their antecedent. That's why I said they didn't know that whale. There's a whale is bigger than elephant because we are used to elephants. But whale is bigger than elephant, and the whale just jump out from the ocean and they describe that this one is bigger. That's what is happening now. They've seen the way he did the state. You get it? There was no problem. There was no issue. The EFC did not even pick him up. You get it? That this one could do, well if he gets into power. Now, that on side. Atiku has been trying, like you said earlier on. Now, I give it to Atiku. In fact, I will even give him more respect. I will give him more respect if he can sheath his sword now. You get?
Okay.
Look around. Who can we give this support? It's not about me because we are all going to die one day. We are all going to leave the place one day. You get it? So it's not a do or die affair. It's not. And nobody's going to live forever. Like if I get to power and I will not live there forever, you will still going to live eventually and you look like the person that has never been there before. That's where you look, where you leave the place. Is that not it? That's the way it looks. So now let Nigeria be bigger than all of us. Let's see Nigeria as bigger than all of us. Then let them come together and see who is the best person for the job, that the opposition, and that everybody will now put, that popularity, apart from the popularity, that has the charisma to lead us to the promised land, and then we all give that person the support. Because Nigeria now, you get it, we don't understand. Because I don't know, Ukraine is fighting war. They are not complaining of hunger. Russia is destroying their land. They are not complaining of hunger. You get what I'm saying? They are not complaining of hunger. It is Nigeria that's not at war that we are complaining seriously of hunger. There's no food. Things are getting... What about if you are now at war? That means everybody will die in the country. I don't understand. Because I keep seeing Ukraine.
All right, Mr. Lawal, we need to take reactions right about now because of time. The number to call is 080-3692-9933, 080-3692-9933, and the WhatsApp number is 0817-1756-338, 0817-1756-338. That is the WhatsApp number. Hello, good evening. How are you?
Good evening, yes, sir.
Good evening, sir. What's your name, please?
Yes. And good evening to all the guests in the studio.
All right, good evening, sir. What's your name?
My name is Chike. I'm calling from Apapa.
All right, Chike, please go ahead.
Yes, it's like the other guest there is a detective police officer because he talks like the...
Yes, he's a former commissioner of police for your state,
okay.
Yes.
Yes, if you can do me a favor, give me like 2 minutes. Let me...
2 minutes,
give information.
Hey, it's long ago.
He said he wants to give information.
Okay.
Just make it as short as possible so we can accept other calls.
Nwebonyi, his family house is not far from my own.
Okay.
In Mbeke Isheke. Where we live is Mbeke Isheke. Where he comes from, when he was writing his WAEC, he was the first person that introduced. There is this local pistol that they call Okamate.
Okay.
When they were writing WAEC, he was arrested inside exam hall where he have local pistol inside his pocket, Okamate. He was let me explain to you very well so that you understand where I'm going. He was a political thug to Godwin Obaga. There's somebody that is called Godwin Obaga. He's not far from his own compound too. And this character that called Nwebonyi just tell Rufai that Chike, the senior brother of Ifeanyi, the one that is working with him. Ifeanyi is my senior brother, but both of us don't go in the same line. This the same Nwebonyi is owing me about 800,000 naira. Do you know how Devil might get to put him as a PDP chairman? Is from that the same Godwin Obaga. And that the same Godwin Obaga, his godfather, he later at the end of the day call all his boys, they strip that man off, beat that man up. I don't know the kind of misunderstanding they have at Mori. There is one market that is very close to there is one popular market, they call it Mori. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We are listening to you.
Yes. That is where Chief Godwin Obaga was stripped off. They beat that man as if that man is a thief. Try the man, and at the end of the day, after that incident, the Devil Mai decided to make him a PDP chairman in Ebonyi State.
All right.
From
Thank
there,
you
both
very
of them
much.
left and joined APC.
Thank you.
See,
Thank
that
you.
time-
Thank you. Your 2 minutes has been exhausted. We need to take more calls. Thank you very much. I think I understand where he's coming from, that his attitude is not surprising. All right, the number to call is 080-3692-9933. 080-3692-9933. Hello, good evening. How are you?
Hello.
Good evening, sir. What's your name?
Yeah. Who's calling from Aya?
All right, Chooks, please go ahead.
Yeah. You see, the eminent people have said it all, but notwithstanding, you see, intelligence sharing. How do we do it? When we have flaw, we see what the people that we need to share intelligence with, like the CP said, you go to the police station, you are the first suspect. You see what they do all over. In fact, one of the reasons why we felt that, especially people that that supported this current government, which it doesn't take them 1 naira, which it has been the anthem of every IG that comes in, that I will disband all roadblocks, except where necessary. At least by the grace of God, I've traveled out of the country, gone to Dubai, gone to China. I've never seen this kind of nonsense that happens on our road. You want to tell me that people that persecute all these, in the most places where you can get information is market people, and market people that is coming from kids for just my 12,
Okay.
that they are costed their goods, and they don't have will they be ready to go to anywhere to share information? And let's give this politics to all these people that are playing it, Bayo Nonuga, and even all the other coalition. I want to tell you that somebody wants to break into Bayo Nonuga's or Gas house. He will not defend it with his blood. That is what it is. Let's leave it, because he cannot even trust the opposition to. Obi will say that he wants to do it his own way. He doesn't want to be subservient to anybody.
All right. Sorry, we need to take more calls, okay? Thank you very, very much. I sincerely do appreciate you calling. 080-3692-9933. Please, let's try to make our comments as short as possible, meaning that before you call, you already have how you want to say what you want to say. It's not when you're on air, you're thinking on how you want to put across your line of thought or reaction to the conversation, all right? I will sincerely do appreciate that. Thank you. Hello, good evening. How are you? Welcome to the Evening Rush. What's your name? Hello, sir? Hello? Hello? All right, kindly call back.
Can you
Hello,
hear
good
me?
evening. How are you?
Good evening, Esther Wachuku.
Good evening, Zaranati. Welcome.
Okay, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for calling. Please go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay, I greet my brother Lawal Egundayo.
Good evening, sir.
I greet my brother. Thank you for coming.
Yes.
And Mr.
CP Chuk, someone, yes.
Good evening
Chai.
to you too.
You're welcome, sir. Happy to see you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Esther Wachuku. Can you hear me?
Go ahead, sir, please.
CP Chuk remind me something now that is just try to kill me here. You see, Esther Wachuku, this about concerning the program days in those days. You see, and what would have shortened these people's mind and this amount to like Bayo and Onoga is when this Ibrahim Bangida presented his book telling people what they had a gang up against Igbos. And they see that I thought that people would just take this thing from there, and even went to go to this thing to ICC. But what I was asking for is money for them to forget what happened. You see, what a shame. What they're asking is money instead of them to take from this thing, so that they can just bring that pride in that to Igbos. That is why when say the people will just do something, nothing will happen. But when people from east do, you see that by Anonoga. Everything does. That is why this thing is happening. You see, but I need a platform to just say, I know that I can bet my blood to make sure that I correct all these things. I need a platform, but with time. You see, this Natasha, please. I thought this Natasha is a lamb that look at what happened. Up till now, they change it. What are the alternatives? They had to recall him. Still, Nigeria should try and at least sit joining hand with somebody when somebody is suffering. They just join hand to make sure that they go to make sure that they get the justice for the person. Not they will let the person to suffer alone. That is why people hardly come out to talk, because once they talk, they pick the person. Nobody will talk again. Natasha just said that alarm, and Bobby was still there. Every time they just change the right this thing now to it will recalling her. Why? What for? Esther, let us join hands together and make Nigeria great. If
All
not,
right, thank you. Thank you very much.
Don't do Nigeria again.
Thank you very much. Hello, good evening. How are you? Welcome to the Evening Rush.
Hello,
What's your
sir.
name?
Good evening. Once again, it's calling back. Time did not permit me to. You knocked me out, but let me.
You are taking a lot of time. That's what happened.
Okay. Let me talk about the coalition. You see that politics in Nigeria is like football game. There is this match between Galatasaray against Chelsea in Champions League. Jose Mourinho saw that his team might lose. This is not if he is not.
Chike, we need to take more calls, okay? Please.
Defender.
Right? All right.
So Ebue, there's one player that they call Ebue.
Chike, please, kindly call another time. You've taken time the first time. The second time, I told you, get your thoughts together when you call, please. It's very important. 08036929933. Hello, good evening. How are you?
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. What's your name?
My name is Stephen Odema. I'm calling from Ojo.
All right, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Just what I want to check on now. I was watching you.
Hello?
Sorry, I heard what all of them are saying. They are
Okay.
saying the right thing. What I just want to chip on now is about this man called Ononoga. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
He always speak in a form of tribalistic man. I don't know why he somewhat going to well of this speaks. He like to attack him. But others are speaking.
I want to contribute to they are talking about Onanoga. You know that, like what the analyst said there, they are afraid of P2 because everyone knows that P2 is the person whom they stole his mandate from. And they expected him to react angrily. He didn't. So they just trying to find out what is in his mind so that we find a way to provoke him and they find something alleged against him. That's why they're trying everything to provoke him. And his intelligence enough is not following them in their own way. And I hope he keeps it up, the intelligent person. Then about the coalition they want to form, yes, if you look at it, Atiku has contested severally. Buhari also contested severally. Age, Trump is about 90 now from what we were told, if he can stay offer. But if they, in their coalition they reason properly and say, this is the person who is much more younger and eager and intelligent to carry us along, so be it.
All right.
I don't want to criticize Atiku.
All right. Thank you very much. I sincerely appreciate your input. 080-3692-9933. That's the number to call. All right. Hello. Good evening. How are you?
Fine.
Good evening, sir. What's your name?
My name is your friend, Evangelist.
Oh, Evangelist.
Okay, a man with vision.
Please go
I
ahead.
greet your guest, so good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And our also brother. Yeah, see, actually, the truth is that we don't need to be panic.
Okay.
You understand?
All right.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, sir. I'm listening.
Yes, we don't need to be panic. You know, we Nigerians, the good citizens of Nigeria, we don't need to panic. Because my Father in heaven, God have already confirmed that Peter Obi is the president of Nigeria in 2027. Do you know why I say so?
Why?
Yes, you can see what is happening today, that the ruling party today, the APC, are fighting Peter Obi. The reason why they are fighting Peter Obi, because Peter Obi is coming as a light.
Hello. Oh, wow. His network has gone off. It's disconnected. Hello. Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. What's your name?
My name is Thomas. I'm speaking from Ikotu.
All right, Mr. Thomas. Please kindly go ahead.
My own is a little bit advanced.
Okay.
It's obvious that he's a threat as regard 2027.
Okay.
My advice to him is that he has to be very watchful about it. He has to be careful about his own personal security.
Okay.
You see, there was a man called Funshaw Williams.
Funshaw Williams. I know where you're driving at.
To Lagos by then. And because of this kind of thing, the man was assassinated. So Obi should be very careful. Those that know him should tell him to watch his personal security. Because these people, they are becoming unbecoming.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Because I wonder, out of all the opposition, why pick out one person when opposition has said worse, especially Shore? Hello, good evening. How are you?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir. What's your name?
My name is Dixon. I'm calling from Onirike.
All right, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, my question is about the porosity of the border.
Yes.
Because since this APC government has been on ground, they've been talking of election. Nobody is talking about the betterment of the country. Please, you pass this information. What are they doing about the porosity of those areas through which the hoodlums come in? Because we can't live things cannot continue to be like this. And the government is not talking anything about it. Is it supposed to be so? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. 08036929933. And the WhatsApp number is 081717563338. My name is Esther Machiko and I'm here in the studio with CP Chooks N11, Mr. Lawal Ekundayo. Hello, good evening. How are you?
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. What's your name?
My name is Jeremiah.
Jeremiah. All right, Mr. Jeremiah. Kindly go ahead, please.
Thank you. My concern is that this battle of bandits cannot be totally eradicated.
Okay.
In the sense that it seems that the people in authority,
okay,
it seems that they have something that they are collecting from those bandits. Because when any information is given, or maybe they ask the army to go to social area, before the army will get to that place, they might have given them information so that they will lay ambush for those people.
All right, thank you.
That is for that. The second one is that I said it before Buhari became the president, that if these people get to the top, they don't have any plan for the Nigerian masses, that they are not going to do anything. So, and it's come to pass. This pattern of Tinubu of 18, it's all the same. So all our leaders, they don't have the love of the people that they are leading.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hello. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. What's your name, please?
Yeah, just calling.
Good evening, sir. Sorry for keeping you. What's your name?
Yeah, I understand. Onyebula Ojukwu.
Your name is?
Onyebula Ojukwu.
All right, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay, fine. The thing I wanted to pick shipping, I'm really enjoying your program. Because of your program, I left where I'm supposed to be taking a bottle of drink. And that's by the way. There's something I want to do, please. These two people on the studio.
Okay.
And I don't know whether Barrister Danetri used to, Barrister, yes, it was Prince Chilaka used to come to your studio.
Okay.
I want to do something, please. I don't know whether if that can be permitted. I want to organize a program. If it is for me to pay or take care of their tea fare, whatever we take for a whole day or 5 hours in the studio. Maybe two particular radio stations for us to put things in order. At least, even if for me to take care of that, if my number can be taken down, please. I don't mind. Even I want to come to your studio. I still want to do something there.
All right.
We just pick these two people on the studio, and there's a Pastor Darentry with Prince Chilaka.
Okay.
There's one other man that used to come in used to talk about, used to give us the law of Nigeria. He used to preach the law, everything about Nigerian law.
Okay.
Whenever he's talking, he use that vocabulary. I need to do something with these 5 people, please.
Okay.
If it is to put it in your studio, to just for me to take care of whatever the bills. Please.
Okay.
I want us to do something.
All right. Send a message on WhatsApp, or I'm gonna send you my number, so you can, because there are a lot of messages here, so I may not be able to see your message if. So I'm gonna send you my number. All right.
I will do that. I will send a message to you.
Thank you very much. All right. Send a message here as well with your name, so I know that it's you.
I will do that.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello. Good evening. How are you? Welcome to the Evening Rush. What's your name?
Isinguzo by name. I'm from Badagry.
All right, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I am interested in your program.
Thank you very much.
I just want to say hi to your guest there.
All right.
The CP Chuse used to be my squadron commander.
Wow.
Imopotu Kefi.
Wow.
Thank you.
I say good evening, sir.
Good evening, my brother. How are you?
We thank God, sir. We thank God. Yeah. Thank you very much. I just want to say hi to my Oga.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
All right, thank you. Thank you. To be honest, I appreciate that. 080-3692-9933, 080-3692-9933. Hello, good evening. Welcome. What's your name, please?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good
How
evening.
are you?
Good evening for masters in the studio. Yes, you see, the security of a thing, they didn't take it serious. Yeah, there is what it takes to fight them, but they have contaminated army. Army has contaminated.
Okay.
So it is very difficult to clear them due to wants, due to personal interest. So I think if they can come up and select good people among them in a camp to monitor themselves, I think it will be better, and see how individual is performing his activities. I think it will help a lot to fight these people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I sincerely do appreciate you calling. 080-3692-9933, 080-3692-9933. Hello, good evening. How are you?
Esther, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, how you doing, sir?
I did. Well done. What will be your name and location?
My name now is I come from my brother Governor State.
All right, sir. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Please, I just want to know about our president. How about the case when they drag her to court? How the case look like? Because as they talk today, we don't just hear anything goes by that time.
Okay, you mean dragging the president to court? Sarah has done that already, but
for the river station, how the matter goes? Are they judge the case or?
You mean the river situation?
I mean, they suspend the matter.
No, the man is still in suspension. The person that they sent to court is General Ibas, the sole administrator. They want him to step aside. His presence there is unconstitutional. We get to hear how the court proceeding with that will go. But somebody has sued the sole administrator to court.
Okay,
yes.
Still there ahead of court, are you?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks. Have a nice day.
All right, thank you very much. Well done. All right, I'm going to take some messages right about now. I'm going to go onto YouTube. If you want to be part of the conversation virtually, you can join us on YouTube at VOP 903 FM. So I'll take some comments right about here. Saike says, Showore is playing a mind game. He is an APC merchant. Characters like him should not be taken seriously. Money for hand. Jessica Sumonu says, whatever they are playing now can be on their gains, but when Trump is ready to look into the government of Nigeria, it may be wrong on them. MKO son of man says Obi is a man of the people, Tinubu is a man of himself. All right, MKO the living one from Satellite Town, Lagos. Okay, thank you very much. Jessica says Bayo Onanuga is supposed to be charged with treason, and Tinubu should declare a state of emergency in his home. Obed Oji says, Analyst Chuk Senwanwu, you are very much welcome on board physically at the studio of our noble radio station. You are a great you're a great analyst for Judah Kami Judah in the morning newspaper review time. Thank you very much, Obed. Tunde Babs TV says, okay, Tunde Bab says this station is about Igbo. Now, una no dey tire. Which Igbo did we speak about now? We're talking about the issues, the hot topics. Tunde Babs, please be calming down, okay? Imodo Raf, they focused and attract Peter Obi because they know what he is worth. All right. This person says, if Unayam Esther, stop making that statement that Igbo is a part of Nigeria. Stop it. What do you want me to say? Hey. Obed Oji, CP Chuk, sincerely speaking, we love you, glad, thank you very much. I think he's gotten to know that. Tunde Sisna Wisdom 96 says, good evening, I'm what you know, thank you very much. Precious Emerifo says, good evening, you see Bayo is not a politician, he just wants food on his table. All right, Mr. Ekundayo, good evening, thank you for joining us today. Mr. Ekundayo, they're sending a greeting to you. Dennis and Chukwuka, good evening, beautiful Esther, thank you very much. Good evening to you. Mr. Obi is making more sense. Another guy using Peter Obi's speech to make fans on the news. He should keep it up. All right, thank you very much. Sir, you are indeed correctly correct. MKO son of man says both Tinubu and all that he chooses are all behaving like children. Check out their behavior and argue with me if I'm wrong. All right. OJKAK says a marriage that is not working and the couple stay together is a death waiting to happen. Nigeria will melt down. No, Nigeria will not melt down in Jesus' name. Because Truth and Reconciliation Committee will never happen in Nigeria. We're hoping it actually comes to pass, and we're hoping this administration does something about it. All right, Abidin Adeyemo, Abidin, be calming down, okay? Akachuku Kelvin says, this so-called Senator Nwebonyi needs to be conducted brain drain test on, for Christ's sake. That man is sick, I tell you guys. I rest my case. All right, Sonny TV says, CP, good to have you back. Emeka Nweke says, the Nigerian government should release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, leader from illegal detention. All right, okay. Very well done. Thank you very much for all your messages. Good evening, Esther Wachiku. Please, do you see all this political giant that gathering themselves together? Nothing can be possible if we still operate by presidential appointment. This is from KK Gold. Matthew Unemeka says, I'm married to VOP. I have never seen a radio station as such. Thank you very much, Matthew. We are married to you too. Anslam Jerome, good to see CP Chooks. My day is incomplete without listening to VOP. Well done. KK Gold says, appointment of INEC and Chief Judge, no help for Nigeria come 2027 unless that will be changed in our judiciary and INEC. Well done, guys. Now I'm going on to WhatsApp, and Christian from Shasha says, good evening, Esther. This government don't know, and they don't believe that they don't know, and they're not ready to learn. They will never know, and they'll keep making mistakes till the end. This is Christian from Shasha. Well done, Christian. Thank you very much for your message. Wow, tons of messages right here. So let me start from the very beginning. This person says, good evening, Esther and the guests. Esther, journalism is not only asking questions and playing to the gallery like some journalists do. It encompasses those, and that's what you are doing. Esther, you are held in high esteem for your modern journalism. Keep it up. It's obvious Mr. Tinubu can't and will not perform positively well, even if you give him 100 years. You know what? Because there is no integrity. It's all about selfishness and self-centeredness. He's not corrupt-free, hence he can be influenced to give away our money to rogues, cronies like himself, because he's one of them. As for Rivers State, Wike and the terrible ruler that is supporting him will fail woefully. All right. As for Bayo Onanuga, Obi is a bone on his neck, is a hypocrite just like his paymaster, Emperor. All right. Good evening, VOP. Esther, your guest, CP Chuka 11, Mr. Lawal. I'm happy the way two of the analysts are analyzing the topic about the attack on Peter Obi. Esther, the name of Peter Obi is a threat to this administration. That is why all this attacks. Neka from Surilere. Good evening, VOP. ABC is afraid of Peter Obi because they know he is a hero. They're wearing Obi's crown, so each time they hear his voice, they tremble. Francis from Satellite Town. Really? Good evening, everyone. I am waiting the day Bayo Onanuga will caution Atiku this way. They're taking Peter Obi's quietness to being a weakling. Obinna from Diamond Estate. Good evening, Esther and your guests. The ruling party knows that what they stole belonged to Peter Obi. So whenever they see Peter Obi, they feel guilty and they're afraid of him. Bayo Onanuga is one of them. That's why he always speaks on Obi, even in a marketplace where he did not see Peter Obi. APC, now for you. Chikeze from Ago. All right, well done. Good evening, house. Can a cockroach be innocent in the gathering of a chicken? A bad workman will always have issues with his tools. Bio, take it or not, democracy is dead in Nigeria, killed by this present administration. Administration where judiciary is blindfolded and their hands are tied. Administration where the eyes have it in their National Assembly. Administration where the executive is totally confused since inauguration. State of emergency needed now on these three arms of government. Otherwise, Nigeria will continue going down more and more. Imagine what happened this evening in Godswill Akpabio Stadium. Please tell me, why will Nigeria not go down? Only that name, Akpabio. Imagine a man accused of sexual harassment. Do you see the effects on our national team performance? The Bible said your name should not be mentioned among these immoral things. People we call our leaders have no integrity or pride. They only pride themselves in doing evil. May God have mercy. Good evening, Esther, and the gentleman in the studio. Esther, my sister, the answer to your question has been cleverly given to you by Mr. Lawal. It's just a simple truth. The man, Peter Obi, is the greatest headache of those people in power now. They know that he's a man of the people organically, not money bag like the others. He wouldn't also organize fake bishops like others did to deceive people and win their hearts. Maybe some of you are carried away with the noise and the polity to not understand what Peter Obi represents in Nigeria's political circle. The truth is that Bayo Onanuga understands it better, so that's why he hates him so bitterly. Good evening, Esther and CP Chooks. Last night, ISWAP attacked a Nigerian military base in Borno State and killed scores of soldiers, displaced the soldiers, and took over the military base. Up until this minute, the president has not uttered no word over this devastating situation of insurrection. Same Tinubu who is turning a blind eye to the major hotspots of insurgencies in Nigeria was in a haste to impose a military rule on a peaceful river state. There is no atom of insecurity in river state, yet Tinubu decided to plunge south into chaos by sponsoring a political dispute in river state through Nyesom Wike, who is its minister, Ezekiel from Ejigbo. All right, Ezekiel. Good evening, VAP, and the two analysts, CP Nwowu and Lawal Ekundaya. My name is Mazi Okeke from Lagos. Mr. Ekundaya has said it all about what Bayo Onanuga and Daniel Bwala said about Peter Obi, about the state of the nation. All they said their minds, and Obi's own is different. It's a hatred for the people of Igbos. He's not the only one. Oba of Lagos said in different occasions, Bayo Onanuga has been attacking the people of Igbos for nothing, and nothing is done to stop them. Nnamdi Kanu is still in the custody of the DSS after the Court of Justice ruling that he should be freed. It has become a normal thing in Nigeria to treat the Igbos like that, and we're saying that we are one Nigeria. Obi is the only opposition today. That is why they want to pull him down. If anything happens to the soldiers as they were killed in the north, the whole soldiers will be directed to go and destroy the whole region, like what happened in Ukwama in Delta states. All right, okay. All right. Wow. Good evening, Esther. Well done. Good evening to you too. Good evening, Esther, a queen, and good evening to the honorable guests in the house. I'm Babeji from Oshudi. Please, Esther, there's this thing I think the Igbo should do concerning all this. Attacks and false accusations, ill treatment against Peter Obi and the Igbos by Reno, Bola, and the entire House of Fulani Yoruba national elites. Let Peter Obi and Obedient sue all those his attackers, because it has become a ride. Let the Igbos sue the Nigerian government for apologies, recompensations, and restitutions because of all the odds that they had done against them before the civil war till date. Cause it is too bad. All right, Babiji, well done. Thank you for your message. Good evening, Esther and the guests. Please, can we always be given the names of slain soldiers, officers, whenever they are ambushed and killed? Dozie Augustine. All right, well done, Dozie. Good evening, Sister Esther, and your special guest in the house. Straightforward. Politics is the major problem of Nigeria at the moment. Nigerian politics, instead of begetting progress, it's birth evil. The politicians have learned and graduated from the evasive and criminal means in politics. Exactly what this politicians are doing is demonic and devouring, and they're doing it in government. They take it as a normal thing. Politics happens to every sector of this country. This resorts to deceit in detriment of the masses. Surely, with this going on, Nigeria may not survive. Solution: some of these self-centered, only humans in Nigerian state know the reality and ways to make the country better, but they will never do it because of politics. The masses is the only solution. They know this, thereby corruptly politicizing the minds of the people, coupled with the tool of hardship. No two individuals in Nigeria can stand on an ideal cause. All right. Thank you very much for that message. Good evening, House, Mr. Analyst. Sometimes I wonder why you people are talking about the army winning the war in terrorism. Has it not come to your knowledge that government is not actually working towards clearing them, but for the purpose of keeping them for their best benefits? What would they benefit for them to continue to keep on terrorists in the country? I mean, why? Good evening, VOP. Elder, welcome back. I have nothing against the man Obi. He's so puerile, at the same time amusing. He talks and behaves like a juvenile politician. Also, he is a great instrument to APC. Does this station belong to him? No, the station doesn't belong to anybody. So, yeah, and what's your name? Emmanuel. All right, well done, Emmanuel. But Tinubu and all the people he chooses in his government are all behaving like children. Have they not seen anyone in person that this government behavior shows maturity? They're all behaving like children. Check it out and prove me wrong. MKO, the living one from Satellite Town. All right. The men and women in the Senate are in the same boat. They aren't angels, so no one should come and paint a sad picture of some minority being different or stifled. All right. Esther, you started again with the narrative of profiling, using the female gender tag to castigate and paint faces when a man and woman are having altercations. And it's one of the reasons why the case of Natasha looks like an uninteresting and pathetic dramatic script to me, using gender tag to gain a dodgy and pathetic public sympathy. Interesting. All right. What's your name? Tay. Well done. Thank you for your message, Tay. Good evening, Esther. I greet you and the guests. It's a pity that we have these opportunists in power. I want to know that they are not attacking Peter Obi because he's an Igbo. The APC and their supporters know they're losing their ground in support of Nigerians gradually. They believe so much in their unpopular strategies to scare and intimidate the people. All right, well done. Taiwo from Ejigbo. Good evening, great minds in the studio. Please, Esther, can you ask the former CP his own take on that man that killed bandits or Fulani headers, judgment of death sentence? Tony from Lagos. There's a Sunday Jackson. He was sentenced to hanging by the Supreme Court because he defended himself against Fulani terrorists who invaded his farm while he was farming. So the Fulani terrorists, he asked him to leave and the guy refused, brought out a machete, stabbed him on the leg and somewhere on the hand or towards the neck. The guy was able to wrestle with the Fulani terrorists and stabbed him back. Unfortunately, he died from that impalement, and he was taken to. He went to report himself, and he was imprisoned for 7 years before his trial commenced. However, he got to the Supreme Court and he was sentenced to death. They said he should have run away when he was attacked. How do you react to that?
It's unfortunate that such a thing has happened. My only wish is that. The governor may commute that death sentence.
Okay.
at least looking at the circumstances to maybe giving him state pardon or something.
Okay.
Otherwise, when the decision has reached the apex court, it is like God's case, no appeal. The only appeal can go to God.
All right.
And God is not visible to give him justice.
All right.
That's just my take to it. It's my prayer that the governor will have mercy on him, knowing fully well the travail he has gone through.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Barrister Sim Asingba is a barrister. The guy was trying to remember his name. So, Darlington Agumon, Lawal Ekundayo, CP Chooks, Barrister Sim Asingba, Prince Chilaka. The studio will catch fire. More importantly, to be so explosive and VOP will trigger something. I'll try to invite Barrister Mr. Chilaka on one of these days. Good evening, Esther and guest Adi from Lagos. With OB, you can see difference between leaders and rulers, brilliant minds and low-grade minds, vision and visionless people, database and excuses. It's a shame the worst of us is ruling the best of us. Truly, there was a country. Please, I want to ask, is it a sin for someone to be a perfect civilized democrat in Nigeria? It's high time for Mr. Obi to have a mad spokesman to face all these Hallelujah chorus singers. It's enough for this attack. Put you in Ikorodu. All right. Peter from Ejigbo. Good evening, Esther. The reason attacking Peter Obi is because Atiku is a no-go area. If the coalition must win, it must be Peter Obi. And in 2027, okay. Good evening. Senator Nwabushi sounds like a juvenile and unfit for the National Assembly. I think Nigerian politicians need drug test and mental evaluation before they're allowed to contest. From Chief Udo. All right. Good evening. The usurpation of Nigeria's constitution isn't a form of government nor any democracy, rather is a failed state. The president's government is spreading this disease and sickness in the name of reforms. If not that the Nigerian voters and contributors of topical issues seem illiterate and ignorant sometimes, they can stop President Tinubu and the APC in the next elections. Tochukwu Adele Thompson from Obani Kuru. All right, thank you very, very much. I sincerely do appreciate all your messages, but we need to wrap up. Sipi Chooks, what's your final take in a few seconds?
Well, I want to, on the scenario in the entire landscape, people are suffering from hardship and hunger. They should be prayerful and do their best to survive. And at the same time, in areas of conflict, places like rivers, Adamawa and so on and so forth, Benue and so on and so forth, the security agencies should do, even the Southeast, they should do their level best to mitigate or minimize the level of insecurity so that people can move around their lawful businesses and be able to, navigate the hard times. And finally, too, the government should try as much as possible to engender peace, unity.
Yeah.
Not just preaching by mouth, but putting it into action to cross the borders or boundaries of religion and tribe. Because Nigerians have seen a lot. They have seen so much. In fact, what Nigerians are demanding now is peace and tranquility.
Okay.
And that, ability to survive the hard times. They are not talking about religion. They are not talking about tribe anymore. And above all, they are not even interested in who becomes the president or the governor anymore. What is of concern to them is how to move on and survive.
All right.
So whatever variables that can be factored in to actualize these areas I've just highlighted will be the best for all of us.
Thank you very much, CP Chooks. I sincerely do appreciate Mr. Lawal Kundaya in a few seconds.
Yes, I love people who challenge the status quo.
Okay.
You get it? So if I can have my way, I would like I will nominate Fubara as a man of the year and Natasha Akpoti Uduagan as a woman of the year.
You're already campaigning for them.
Because they challenge the status quo. They are telling the minority that they can fight, you get it, and have it. So the minority should not always be afraid of the big elephant anymore.
All right,
that's
Mr.
what they
Lawal.
just prove.
Ekundara, I sincerely do appreciate you coming on the program this evening. Thank you so much. CP Chooks, I sincerely do appreciate you as well on the program. I sincerely thank you for giving us your own perspective to these issues. And that's a wrap on the Evening Rush. My name is Esther Wachiku. Follow us across all social media platforms at VOP 903 FM. It was a pleasure communicating with all of you, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.